How's it going, everyone? It's Mr. Rolldaddy here again. And with another Hawkeye football game coming up in the next couple days means it's time to do another one of my videos for this project that I love doing. And if you didn't know by now, that project is none other than Mr. Rolldaddy's Hawkeye football analyst. Is this week? It's week 5, the Iowa Hawkeyes against the Michigan State Spartans in a Big Ten battle. A rematch of the 2015 Big Ten championship game that, yes, I'd still love to see Iowa get some revenge on. So, here we get going. I'm going to make this as quick as I can this week. Again, I'll start with pregame notes and I talk about what Iowa needs to do on offense, defense, and then my special tactic of Rolldaddy's Big Roll of the Week. Let's go. Now again, I'm not going to read the full thing, but I'm just going to say that all views which I express in this video are completely my own, and they're not representative of the University of Iowa or any other parties that are affiliated with the game or with the business of college football. It's just a fun project that I enjoy doing. Now, let's start out with pregame notes here. Iowa's just gotta freaking forget about last week's game. Just play this week's game. Do your job out there. And, I did work with the University of Iowa Athletic Department back in my day of being a student there. There's one thing I know the athletic department prides themselves by. It's their motto of win, graduate, and do it right. So, just do all that this week. Now, let's start with the offensive role keys of the week. So, here's what I'm going to say first. Don't let Mr. Holiday have an Iowa holiday. I'm talking about Cal Holiday, the starting middle linebacker for Michigan State. Just a year ago, this guy led the entire Big Ten in average tackles per game. 120 last year, man, he had average 10 a game. So out there on that open field, he's a tackle machine, but don't let him make those plays in the open space. That's what I'm going to say. Just make sure you're identifying where he is on the field and make sure you're either blocking him or you're going around him because that guy is a tackling machine. He's a lot like what Josie Jewell was to Iowa's defense in the mid-2010s as what he is to Michigan State's defense. Now, my second offensive role key. Identify where the weak side of the field is. I did some research on what Michigan State does on the defensive side of the ball. They employ a 4-2-5 defensive scheme. And what that means is, yes, not only are there 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers, and 5 defensive backs, but because of how that formation is lined up, they don't mirror the movements of offensive players, and they're just going to have the same amount of players on each side of the football no matter what the offense does. So there's going to be 1/3 of the field that has less players than others. So Cade McNamara and center Logan Jones, they got to be recognizing where that weak side of the field is. And they've got to be recognizing that on every single play of the game. Next, quads formation. It's what my high school offense ran often. That's the formation where it's got 1 running back and 4 wide receivers, which there it's called 10 personnel, given there's 1 running back and no tight ends. But again, I'm just going to say this now before you freak out. Yes, you can sub a tight end in at a wide receiver spot in quads. It's just not going to be lined up like a tight end. But this 10 personnel, I played high school football almost exclusively with this formation. Personnel group. And so it offers a variety of play calling that you can do, runs, passes, and when you pass, there's so many different routes the wide receivers can take. And especially considering this defense doesn't align to the players, I do like the idea of getting quads formation in. And yes, let's place that one of our tight ends in at a receiver spot. Now on to defense. Play their top 2 wideouts, Trey Mosley and Keon Coleman. They both have put up some really great numbers as wide receivers, so what I'm going to suggest is that Iowa looks out for what routes they run and their movements before and after the catch. And make sure that when they catch, don't let them gain the yards either, because they can break away. But they've got another receiver that's a pretty big name, Antonio Gates Jr. Obviously, the son of longtime Chargers tight end Antonio Gates. He was one of the best ever played tight end in the NFL. He's got enough talent too, so whenever Antonio Gates Jr. is on there, make sure he is being played too. Zone blitz. So Iowa runs a 4-3, and that's when the defense rushes all 4 down linemen, and they can take any one of the 3 linebackers. So Michigan State utilizes a multiple offensive scheme, meaning that they're really unpredictable on what play they're going to call and how they're going to run it, because they have so many formations. So I'm going to say, just make sure those guys are anywhere, because this can provide enough confusion by zone blitzing, because you don't know what type of play or where Michigan State is going to run or throw the ball to. My third defensive role key: have the secondary play at multiple spots. This is a really interesting tactic, but of all of our 4 in our starting secondary, I mean, Michigan State, they've got a lot of their own issues, and they've got a sudden new head coach middle of the season. Let's put him someone that maybe he hasn't seen on tape often enough. Line up all of our 4 defensive backs in multiple spots and formations on the field. Let's confuse their quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs, offensive line, and of course, their tight ends by having all of our 4 starting secondary guys play multiple spots throughout the game. Now, it's that time again. Rolldaddy's big roll of the week. Now, again, this is an interesting strategy, formation, trick play, or otherwise surprise tactic, which I would use if I was an Iowa coach to potentially catch the opponent off guard, and or maybe just give an unexpected advantage to the Hawkeyes in the game. And again, each big roll can only be used once in a season, and I cannot use the same big roll the week that I used for the same opponent last year or for a similar replacement opponent. So here is what I am thinking we do this week. And I think if I've only got to use this one once a year, this is a really good week to use this one. Fake field goal. It's as basic as it gets, but yes, why I'm saying do it this week if I can only allow myself to do it once a year. Again, Michigan State's in a time of crisis, and he's a sudden new head coach that is still adjusting. So here's when to use it. On a 4th and goal situation, which I see at some point, Iowa is going to have a 4th and goal situation sometime in this game. But it's got to make sense. It's got to be when Iowa is already ahead by 7 or more points. Just line up in that field goal formation and have our all-world punter, Torrey Taylor, just have him try to throw a touchdown for once. And, you know, maybe it'll work, and then maybe he'll have one more highlight reel in addition to all of his awesome punts in terms of having a touchdown throw, and have him add to his impressive punting resume. So let's do it. Let's try it this week. Thank you for watching. Let's win this game. Go Hawks. And if you are going to the game this week, it is the blackout game, so wear something black.